Okay, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Maplewood Community Design Review Board of today, 6 o'clock p.m., Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Roll call, I see that we are missing two people. We're missing Ananth and Amanda. Other than that, we have the rest of us. That constitutes a quorum, not a quarrel. Maybe it will be a quarrel, but we have a quorum. We may proceed. Next thing is the approval of the agenda. Any notes from staff?
Staff and board, Chair and board, staff does not have any amendments to the agenda as presented.
Anything?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, we got a motion and
A second.
we got a second. In favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next item is approval of the minutes of the last meeting, which is October 15th, 2024. Staff, anything?
Chair and board, staff does not have any amendments to the minutes as presented.
Okay, anything from the board?
I have no updates from reviewing it.
I will take that as a,
I motion to
Motion?
approve.
okay, we got a motion and a second. No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. We'll move on. Next is Design Reviews Resolution, Birch Run Station, 1715 Beam Avenue East. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair and board. If you look at the direction of your screens, there will be a handful of slides here to walk through our discussion and provide an overview of the proposed project. You are looking at a proposed coffee shop, which would be just over 2,200 square feet in size, located within the Birch Run Shopping Center, which is located at 1715 Beam Avenue East. This is a one-story drive-through building, again, proposed as a drive-through coffee shop. As part of the project, the applicant is proposing to create two individual building pads, which this coffee shop would be located within the most southerly building pad closest to Beam. If you look at the aerial image on the right-hand side, you see the two blue rectangles. Those are indicating the new building pads that would be created. The one to the south is 0.44 acres in size. And just for context, the overall Birch Run Shopping Center is just over 27.5 acres. To move forward with this project, the applicant is requesting design review, which is what the CDRB is looking at tonight, and then a lot division, which staff will is processing administratively, that will create the two new building pads and actually combine. Birch Run currently has two parcels that would be combined into a single parcel. The current controls of the property, the city's comprehensive plan guides this property as mixed-use community, and the zoning is north end. The area of the project site is currently used as parking lots. The proposed use, a drive-through building, or a building with a drive-through, is a permitted use in the North End district. So that means no planning commission review later tonight, and assuming no appeals from anything that happens tonight, no council is also required to. The council is not required to review it. So to get into the details of the project, the new parcel and building, again, will be completely within the Birch Run Shopping Center area. The new parcel does meet the subdivision requirements of the city. Access drives to the shopping center from Beam Avenue and Southland Drive remain unchanged. No changes there. Ramsey County has reviewed the project, and they had a handful of recommendations and requirements that were included in the engineering report with your staff report. One of those, most notably, is that a traffic study is being required before any permits would be issued by the county or the city engineer. And then the applicant, as part of the site plan, is proposing a sidewalk connection from Beam Avenue to this new building. The new site will have access points on the north and west side of this new parcel. You can see the access point here on the north, and then the access point here on the west. Proposed building is a single story. Materials would include brick, composite siding, and EIFS. A variety of complementary exterior colors and materials are being proposed by the applicant to create a visual appeal. The proposed exterior building materials do achieve the required primary, secondary, and accent material standards of the North End District. As you may recall, that district has prescribed building materials in terms of percentages of what materials must be used, and the applicant is meeting that requirement. Looking at the landscaping plan, the applicant proposes to plant trees and various shrubs, perennials, and grasses throughout the site. This would include 19 new trees. The environmental staff is requesting or requiring that a tree plan identifying the size, location of species of any trees proposed to be removed during development of the site be required, and that's just to ensure all tree replacement requirements are being met, given the number of new trees being planted versus the handful that likely would be removed. There's no issue with that preservation ordinance being met. Just need to prove it out before permits are issued. The applicant has identified a location for the trash enclosure on the southwest site, southwest corner of the site. You can see that here. And then staff is just recommending, and part of the conditions of approval, that the applicant be required to submit elevations for staff approval. Now there's, as this was outlined in the staff report, there's 3 items where the applicant would be looking for design standard exceptions. Now the North End zoning code builds out this exception process as long as it's being consistent with the North End vision plan, comprehensive plan, and the North End zoning district. And the intent behind this, and the board has the authority to provide these exceptions, really was an acknowledgement of there's a difference between wholesale redevelopment. Look at the Birchland Shopping Center, say it all went away and you were building something completely new. Then we would, I think from a staff perspective, look at pretty much complete adherence to the North End zoning district as written, but also then a recognition that the city did not want to get in the way and stifle potential investment on existing properties, and that's where this exception process was included and can be utilized by the city. And so the 3 areas where the applicant is looking for flexibility, the east side of the building, the first item, faces a neighborhood internal private street, which has a maximum building setback of 25 feet. The applicant is proposing a setback of approximately 27 feet. The project does meet the 40% street frontage coverage minimum that the ordinance does lay out. The second item, as I've mentioned a few times, the building is a 1-story building. In the North End zoning district, again, when we're looking at redevelopment of sites, starting over on a site, the city is looking for a minimum of 2-story buildings in most all locations. I do, from a staff perspective, I think we do look at this as an appropriate exception when you look at the existing shopping center and the surrounding buildings that are already in place with no plans to redevelop at this time, that allowing a 20-foot tall building is appropriate. And that top 4 feet is dedicated as a parapet space, again, to help increase the height of the building and screen mechanical equipment. And the third item is the North End zoning district really streamlined, and in some cases more minimized the parking requirements for new uses. So the size of this building, the parking spaces would be required to be 1 in 5, so a 5 maximum. The applicant is proposing 18 parking spaces. The caveat there is 12 of those spaces, while being incorporated into the legal parcel of this site, occur where there's already parking. So it's incorporating an area where there's already parking spaces. So, and from a holistic view from city staff, they're not creating 12 extra parking spaces. And then there would be 6 spaces dedicated directly in front of the store, which we, again, with the maximum of 5, staff does not have a concern with essentially an extra space right in front of the store. Notifications were sent to surrounding properties as ordinance requires, and staff is recommending a motion to approve the resolution for design review, approving a coffee shop with a drive-up food and beverage window to be constructed at 1715 Beam Avenue on a newly created lot. Staff can stand for questions. The applicant's design team representative is here, and also a representative from the ownership group, and they can stand for questions as well.
Can you go back just to the divided parcel that was earlier?
Is this the one showing the new, where the new lots would be?
I guess the question is the neighborhood street one? That the first item where the east side is up against a neighborhood street?
A private internal neighborhood street.
Oh, just the business is part of the.
Yeah, it's part of the internal drive too. It's not a public right of way. So the ordinance does account for private and public spaces and streets. And so, yeah, that functions as an internal neighbor, which is the lowest class of street classification within the
Okay.
ordinance. But yeah, it is a private throughway of the site.
Everybody just drives everywhere inside of that place.
Well,
This would
true.
provide way more structure.
Yeah, exactly. Chair and board, that's where I was going to go, is having a couple additional buildings will work to decrease kind of the free flow or wherever you go. And I should mention that parcel to the north, while it would be created, any future proposed building and use would be required to go through, at a minimum, design review, like what we're doing here tonight, and depending on what the use is, potentially more robust review by the planning commission if there's a use issue as well.
Okay. That was the only question I had for staff.
Okay, anything else?
I think it's great tonight.
The applicant, you'd like to come forward? Come on forward and sign in, and also tell us your name for the record.
My name is Austin Adam, a civil engineer on the design team. Is there any questions that I can answer for you guys?
If you could share the materials, if you've got some of the materials there,
Yeah.
it looks like.
So we're able to get our hands on two of them. The other one is more just a color at this point.
It's beefy stuff.
I think we're done.
No?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Good materials?
Any questions for them?
Where's the mechanical equipment on this site? Screening around that, being that there's all four sides are really visible.
Yeah, the mechanical equipment is going to be,
Is it internal?
are you talking like the transformer?
Or like the HVAC, that'd be up on the roof, wouldn't it? And then you've got a 4-foot parapet that would kind of,
Is that really the extent of the mechanical in that lower part, Michael?
Chair and board, I would look at to the applicant to provide more context there.
okay,
As far as I'm aware on our site plan, the only thing that we've included is a transformer. So I believe everything else would be on the roof.
okay.
As far as my knowledge goes.
And then the actual roof is 4 feet below the top of the parapet then,
Yes, there's an extra 4 feet there, so you can see the ladder, and it kind of extends above.
okay?
Providing the screening.
Yep. Well,
And we worked with our landscape designers to make sure that the transformer will also be screened appropriately.
okay. I saw you have trash enclosures that, on the southwest corner.
What is the material surrounding the trash enclosures?
That I don't know, because that was not included in our submittal, correct?
Chair and board, yeah, and that's as part of the conditions of approval, that staff is recommending that the elevations of the trash enclosure be submitted to staff for their review and approval.
Okay.
If there's any parameters or expectations that the board would like to set for that trash enclosure, it would be appropriate to include that tonight.
It's going to be very visible because it's going to be right out in the open. Is it possible to do that with a similar brick finish to the brick that's going to be utilized on the building for cohesiveness?
If that's a request, I can get back to you. I need to check with Wilkus. They're the architect on this.
Sure. I think the intention was
If you've got a thought on this.
seemed like the screening of the Bob Rusing, Arizona Partners.
Do we have an
Sorry about
elevation showing the trash enclosure?
No, Chair and board, that's the question at hand, is elevations for the trash enclosure
Don't have it.
weren't submitted, which is not atypical for
Okay,
a project,
yeah.
but as Chair, Board Member Lamers is pointing out, it is very visible on all sides, which is not as typical because of the location
Mm-hmm.
of this site. So yeah, that would be up for discussion as to the expectations of, from the board to the applicant and staff to enforce
And
what
what
you
are the
would like to
plantings
see.
that are around the trash enclosure? Looks like 5 shrubs.
Yeah,
The one I'm looking at is.
Yeah.
Yes, those are smaller shrubs, yeah.
And that was, I
Yeah.
think some of the intention was to screen it with
It's
landscaping.
up on the screen up there if you want to look up there. That's what we're talking about.
That's different than the plan that I have. We show it completely wrapped with,
Oh, you're using a lot more shrubs. Okay. All right, I like that. Yeah, it was just, what we saw was just 5 shrubs, so.
yeah, Chair and Commission, the difference between, you're seeing a site plan that's from the architectural set of
Yeah.
plans. Bob is looking at, or showing
Mm-hmm.
the plan set from the civil drawings, which is what would be adhered to from a landscaping
Okay.
purpose.
I'm in agreement. We don't want a big eyesore out there
Okay.
either. That's not the intentions. So if it's wrapping it in brick or to make it, we want to make,
I'm okay with the shrubs myself.
Cohesive with the site, but what's the physical materials? You have 2 dumpsters sitting. You're just
Well, there is a fence around it of some sort.
yeah.
We've got an imperfection with some colors that brown.
Yeah.
Brown.
So what material?
It's,
Like a plastic type board or?
what's the material that you have? This, so the brown faux wood you were showing.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that at a minimum.
And this is for the gates, the enclosure? I see.
Yeah.
I think we're just talking about the overall enclosure.
Okay.
He was saying maybe brick is too much.
Yeah, well, considering that you got shrubs all the way around it,
Are they
so,
deciduous or coniferous?
what?
Are they deciduous or?
Yes,
It'll be
can
part
you
of
tell
the-
us?
It will be the part of our plant palette. that was
evergreens?
Approved. I can make it evergreens if you'd like, for sure.
Brick
Yeah.
is gonna get damaged easy if you had did those dumpsters.
Chair and Board,
going out there.
they are proposed to be conifers.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other comments?
Staff, I think, for just a friendly amendment, I would say cohesiveness with the materials on the building, so trying to match it to one of the building materials so that the site is cohesive. And then, if it's that polyboard material like that, if that's more cost effective, I think that's a suitable material.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Are you making a motion?
I don't have any other questions around the building.
Okay.
I think it's a well-designed building.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we just recently reviewed the building that's gonna be adjacent to the crab location.
Mm-hmm,
I feel like this has some similar,
yeah,
elements that will really make a nice cohesive space there.
okay.
So I'm making a motion to approve the, plans for the, Bertrand Station, 1715 Beam Avenue, for the coffee shop expansion with one amendment for the materials in the trash enclosure to be cohesive with one of the materials on the building.
And Chair and Board, I would recommend that be added as 8D with the caveat additional that they would be submitted to staff for review.
I accept that, 8D and for staff review.
I will second that. Any further discussion? let's take it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. It happens. So, congratulations and good luck. Okay, then, unfinished business, anything?
Chair and board staff has nothing further for you tonight.
Anything from the board? Anything from the staff? Anything from the visitors? Nothing? Okay. Call for, you want to make a motion for adjournment?
I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll
second.
second. Well, we have 2 seconds, so, in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, we're done. We're doing good time.